Gotta turn it.
Though we have all traveled many uncertain roads, we have always recognized something wasn't right. We searched high and low, yet our paths had never intersected. Our desire to seek truth, then to speak true, has brought us all together. That thing of ours is rooted in truth, because truth is the only unshakable foundation. In the greatest book, it states in John 8:32, "For ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free."
Truth is a powerful force. It is the foundation on which all great achievements are built, and the bedrock of trust and respect in any relationship. When we are rooted in truth, we can be confident that our decisions and actions are grounded in reality rather than in speculation or wishful thinking.
The pursuit of truth is not always easy. It requires courage, perseverance, and a willingness to face uncomfortable facts. But in the end, the truth is always worth it. It allows us to make better decisions, to build stronger relationships, and to create a more just and equitable world.
From politics and world events to entertainment and pop culture, we've got you covered. We'll explore our history and the stories that matter to uncover the truth that lies at the heart of each one. With our fingers on the pulse of the news cycle, we'll provide the insights and analysis you need to stay informed and engaged. As we stay rooted in truth and let the truth guide us in all that we do, let us be willing to listen, to learn, and seek out the facts, even when they challenge our own assumptions or beliefs.
Let us never forget that the pursuit of truth is not just an individual endeavor, but a collective one. Only by working together
With honesty and integrity,
can we build a better future for ourselves
And for generations to come.
This is That Thing of Ours. How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining us today on this Thursday, 24th of July, 2025. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Locals, and Pill.net.
and if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on pill.net, take that red pill. And if you're on Facebook, you got like 7 choices.
Uh-huh.
Run over there and clickety click.
Clickety click, everybody.
Let's say hi to the fam.
Hello to the fam. Yo, what's going on, F Clan? How you
Got
doing, man?
Mike in the house.
What's up, Mike? How you doing?
We got Ryan in the house.
Hey, Ryan. Thanks for joining,
We
man.
got Miss Bethany Ann in the house.
Bethany Ann.
Okay, go ahead, Biggie.
Go ahead, what?
Oh, there's Miss Steph.
Hey, Steph. There we are.
Good evening.
Everybody's showing up. Good evening. All right,
It's been
so
an interesting day.
it has been an interesting day. And I don't know if all y'all...
Even your friend Andy had an interesting day.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know.
Hulk Hogan passed.
Hulk Hogan passed. Chuck Mangione passed.
Yes.
Y'all might know the name. I know y'all are old. All of y'all are old like us, but Chuck Mangione, the trumpet
Except for
player.
Ryan, he's a baby.
Yeah, he's a baby. He might not know who Chuck Mangione is.
Yeah.
But that's fine. He'll find out by the end of the show, I'm sure.
Yes, he will.
Yeah.
He's already Googling it.
And Hulk Hogan too. Yeah, we lost Hulk Hogan.
You know, Theo Huxtable.
We lost him. And then
Ozzy Osbourne. It's just been a weird week.
It's been a bad week for celebrities.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, hey, there's all sorts of things happening all over the place, good and bad.
Yeah.
It feels like a pruning season, does it not?
Yeah. Did you know that just like 2 weeks ago, Hulk Hogan was baptized?
Was he really?
Yeah.
All right. That's nice. That works out.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Would you read that, please?
Oh, hold on. I can't see. I gotta get my monocle. There we go. All right. Still gotta figure out how to work this. President Trump says the days of big tech replacing American workers with foreigners is over.
Let's listen.
And perhaps most importantly, winning the AI race will demand a new spirit of patriotism and national loyalty in Silicon Valley and long beyond Silicon Valley. For too long, Much of our tech industry pursued a radical globalism that left millions of Americans feeling distrustful and betrayed. And you know that. Everybody knows that. Everybody in this room certainly does. Many of our largest tech companies have reaped the blessings of American freedom while building their factories in China, hiring workers in India, and slashing profits in Ireland. You know that? All the while dismissing and even censoring their fellow citizens right here at home. Under President Trump, those days are over. We need U.S. technology companies to be all in for America. We want you to put America first. You have to do that. That's all we ask. That's all we ask.
Imagine that.
Thoughts?
Like
There's
having.
Angie.
Hey, Angie.
Yeah, we had a whole bunch of people just roll
Yeah,
in.
we had like a whole bunch of people roll in. Do we want to go ahead and go through those Patriots as well?
Yes.
All right, let's do
Got
that.
Carol.
Hi, Carol. I know Dawn's around there somewhere.
Yes. Hi, Miss Dawn.
Hi, Miss Dawn. There's Sea Strike. How you doing? Thank you for joining us.
You got to show them because
What?
they missed.
Well, yeah. Okay. So the monocle from Mike came in, and this thing is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I want to talk to this company. Oh, shoot. It's a good thing it's got the little string on it.
Oh, yeah. I have been so
Amazing
thankful for
company.
that little string.
I've had so much fun. There we go. Near Sights. It is a monocle specific company. It's amazing. And it works much better than readers do. It's a lot more convenient and easy. I'm going to, like an unpaid promotion here, I'm just going to go ahead and say that this thing is awesome. And it like totally made my day, despite the fact all the losses that we've had. Hey, Elf Beast, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
a new
Liberty
friend.
did that.
All right. Bringing in 11 howdy friends. All right. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Left Lane 7691. Thank you for joining us, new friend.
Isn't it?
The monocle is badass. It's not the peanut guy. It's the Monopoly guy. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you? Yeah. Aaron, yeah. Ryan's talking trash over there.
He is.
He's talking trash. Get yourself a monocle, by the way, all of you. And if you get one, I would highly recommend Nearsights. These things are awesome.
Yeah.
There's Hope. Hey, Hope. Yeah, thanks for the raid, Liberty.
Yes,
it is
very
appreciated.
much so.
And thanks for
Very
bringing
much.
everybody. I'm trying to catch up with what's going on over on Pilled, too.
I know.
Yes, thank you.
I'm sure Bethany Ann is over there working it.
Without a doubt. Okay, so having jobs filled by Americans in America. I know it's a crazy concept that we haven't.
What?
And thank you, Bethany. I know it's a crazy concept that Americans would fill American jobs, but this is obviously one of those things that President Trump has hung his hat on, and he most definitely needs to make sure that that's happening. And it looks like it is everywhere. It's just being met with some resistance by those who are taking all of our jobs. What else? I don't know.
I know. It's ridiculous.
It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I knew Don and Carol had to go to work tonight. It's Thursday.
Yeah,
Thursday's always nights.
So I'm going to go ahead and spill a little bit of the beans here. I'm working on a special analysis report. I'm hoping to get done by tomorrow, and is tying Epstein Island to a continuation of the Civil War, American Civil War, and World War II. We'll talk about that a little bit more. If you have questions, we can certainly answer that. Hey, Chops, thanks for joining. All right. Let's see. Where were you going to Little Locker? I thought you went to work this morning. Oh, that's not for us.
No.
Okay. We probably don't need to put that one up. Anyways, so yeah, good things happening with, or at least President Trump's at least talking about it, but we're also seeing the fruits of that labor. And it's upsetting some people, but that's fine, because it's helping so many more that by right should have first right of refusal of those jobs.
You think?
Just a thought.
Just a thought.
I'm not a politician. I'm, just some guy on the internet.
Who's pretty neat.
Sometimes I have a monocle, so I'm cooler now than I was before.
Yes. You're lucky you have a good friend.
I do. I have good friends. I do have good friends. All of y'all are our friends.
Yes.
Anyways. All right.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Would you read that, please?
Yes.
No more complaining.
No more complaining. Natalie Winters sweeps the leg on ultimate grifter Christopher Steele.
Let's watch.
This is so much easier.
Well, I know Christopher Steele probably wanted to go down in history as someone that colluded with the Clinton campaign to take down President Donald J. Trump, but I really think that you represent probably the ultimate grifter in the American political space. For you to even come on here, obviously you're trying to sabotage what President Trump is doing when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, but to sit here, what is it, nearly a decade after you tried to smear President Trump as a Russian asset, to then say, well, I think he's a Russian asset, but even though I'm really good at my job and create all these intelligence reports, it's just sort of a feeling that I have. I'm sorry, what stones do you even have left to turn over to try to corroborate your claim that President Trump is a Russian asset? You what? Weaponized FISA courts, surveillance, warrants, not just domestic spy agencies, international spy agencies too, the entire DNC apparatus, a bunch of political operatives and registered foreign agents here in the United States. The American people would really appreciate it if you would stop injecting your efforts to curtail and totally tank the America First movement by smearing anyone who doesn't want to get involved in forever wars or continue the needless and ceaseless dying of Ukraine and in Russia, just so you can sit there from your nice perch and just continue to defend the globalist world order by continuing to fan the flames of conflict in Russia and Ukraine. And you know what? The same people that you ally yourself with here in the United States, you think you're so good at gathering intelligence. Last time I checked, it was the 51 intel agency officers, spies, who said that the Hunter Biden hard drive, which I've reported on firsthand, it's legitimate. You want to talk about president's sons who are involved in businesses with foreign countries? Well, I'd like to introduce you to Hunter Biden, right? When those 51 people that I'm sure that you know all too well, you were probably likely involved with the drafting of that letter, said that was Russian disinformation. Well, it turned out that that was true, and shame on you for the last decade trying to inject the idea that smearing President Trump as a Russian agent or a Russian asset is somehow going to tank the MAGA movement. It's about putting America first, and the fact that you can still sit here and you have no actual evidence beside one random Russian meeting and, oh, we need to just continue to get more evidence. You're a complete political hack and grifter, and I wish the American political scene didn't have your voice in it.
All right. Well, Christopher Steele, you're about to leave us because you're only here for this part of the panel. But your response finally to that?
My response is that I'm a professional intelligence officer and an expert on that part of the world. I'm not a politician.
Was the Hunter Biden hard drive Russian disinformation then, if you're such an expert?
Let him finish. Let him finish.
So I've been a loyal ally of the United States for probably most of the last 40 years. I've worked extremely closely with officials working for administrations, both Republican and Democrat. I have a very strong US client base for which I've worked and produced information over many years, none of whom have ever made any such allegation against me. And it's palpable nonsense to claim that I'm in hoc with politicians.
I'm so glad the Clinton campaign didn't say that about you.
Well, I never worked for the Clinton campaign. I never had any contact with the Clinton campaign. That's the reality of it.
You're a subcontractor.
I think Fusion GPS would beg to
I
differ.
produced a report for a partner firm
Calling
in
him out.
Washington, and the results of that report made me as an ally of the United States, as I would have expected an American counterpart to do, to report back in what I found to the contacts I had in the FBI at the time.
Okay.
That was the right thing to do, and I'm proud that I
Well,
did.
was
All
the
right,
Hunter
we're
Biden hard drive
gonna
Russian
leave it. We're going to leave it
disinformation,
there.
if you're
Look, I think
such an
everyone's had their
expert?
say about
I'd love
Christopher
his
Steele.
expert opinion.
Let's leave it there. I want to move on to other subjects. Christopher Steele, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. I'm going to let you go. Anthony Scaramucci.
Thoughts? And hey, Chachi.
Hey, Chachi, thanks for joining. All right. Yeah, there's some lying going on there, but he's got to cover, cats always got to cover their shit, right? He's going to try to protect himself. I don't know who the Clintons are, but at least somebody called him out right off the bat and said, you're a contractor for, you got paid by, so therefore you are connected with. Good luck trying to separate yourself, but it looks like the evidence is going to point to your specific involvement in the things that were going on. You know what? It's all got to play out. And this is just a small part of everything that must occur to build that case. So that way a majority of the people in this country, at the very least, are less inclined to believe that it's a coup, rather so much as this is an active investigation that is going on, and that people need to be arrested because of the suspected treason that we all pretty much already believe has happened. But there's so much of the country that doesn't believe that. And those are the people that are trying, that are being educated at this point in time, in terms of educated in terms of the lies that they've been dealt and that they have believed and that they have perpetuated because they were just parrots repeating talking points over and over again, because they just ate up all the everything that TV gave them. But the good thing is people are starting to wake up to this. Actually, not starting to. People have been waking up to this for quite some time now. It's just people are getting more aware of these kinds of things. And yeah, Mike, she did tell him. She told him.
She did.
She told him.
You ready?
Yeah.
Would you read that, please?
All right. I'll get my handy dandy monocle here. I'm so excited about this thing. It really does help. All right. Fed Chair Jerome Powell was just sued.
Let's listen.
Welcome back. Now, there's Azoria Capital filing a lawsuit today against Federal Reserve Chairman Jay Powell, alleging that the central bank is violating transparency law. The suit in part says this: Azoria believes the Federal Reserve is violating federal transparency law, and we are asking a federal judge to immediately block next week's Federal Reserve meeting from happening behind closed doors. Azoria is demanding the court order that the Fed to keep the meeting open as the company sounds the alarm on recent policy decisions, saying Azoria is deeply concerned that the FOMC under Chairman Powell is maintaining high interest rates to undermine President Donald J. Trump and his economic agenda. Joining me now is the CEO himself, Azoria CEO James Fishback. James, thanks very much for being here. So you think this is all political?
I do, Maria. Good morning. The truth of the matter is that inflation is now at a 4-year low under President Trump's leadership, 5 consecutive better than expected, lower than expected inflation readings, and the Federal Reserve refuses to lower rates from a 20-year high. That is a life-altering decision that affects Americans all over the country. They can't get a mortgage, they can't get a home, they can't start or grow their family. Azoria is now suing Jerome Powell in federal court this morning to demand that next week's meeting be open to public observation as federal transparency law requires.
Well, I mean, they always have meetings behind closed doors. So this meeting next week is no different than any other meetings, though.
Well, the fact of the matter is, the fact that they've always broken the law does not excuse them from breaking the law. There's a couple Supreme Court precedents that have moved in our favor, specifically the overturning of the Chevron doctrine. But I got to tell you the truth, Maria, Americans are frustrated. They do not understand why Jerome Powell is being too late. They don't understand that despite inflation being at a 4-year low, that the Federal Reserve is refusing to lower rates. And so the public, Azoria, the president of the United States, can't even know why the Federal Reserve is not acting in accordance with the data. And so the only thing that can be done here is for a federal judge to step in, to issue a temporary restraining order against Jerome Powell and to block him from having next week's meeting happen behind closed doors. That's what we're demanding the court do.
You know, it's just so many implications here. It's not just, and this is a big one that you just mentioned, that a mortgage is out of reach for so many people, but it's also the impact on the cost of capital for the government. I mean, you know, President Trump has been talking about this $36+ trillion in debt that the U.S. faces. He's been talking about his goal to balance the budget at some point. And how do you do that when we're actually spending more money just on the interest to carry that debt than we do on defense spending? So do you think that Chairman Powell should be looking at that and working that into his mandate? I mean, I know that the mandate of the Fed is just unemployment and inflation, but isn't the cost of debt part of the growth of the economy? Because if it's costing us so much money to carry this debt, it is impacting growth.
That is exactly right. And that's what needs to be factored into the economic model, Maria, that Jerome Powell seems to be neglecting, is that when high interest rates actually stifle economic growth, hurt home buying, hurt the ability for the government to deliver the balanced budget that we all know that President Trump can. The president has spoken about this. For every point that interest rates are above natural, it's costing taxpayers $315 billion a year. That is $3 trillion over the next decade. That is $31,000 for every single American tax-paying household over the next decade, because Jerome Powell is not doing the right thing and looking at the data and lowering rates accordingly. Azoria runs an anti-DEI ETF. It's called SPXM. And what we see in the marketplace is that investors from all over the world cannot allocate capital properly if they don't know what the Federal Reserve is going to do next. The American public, businesses, and investors deserve to know what the Federal Reserve's deliberations are at any given point in time. That's why we're suing Jerome Powell in federal court this morning. I'm confident, Maria, the court will side with our arguments, but I got to tell you the truth. We're prepared to immediately appeal any decision, and if necessary, ask the Supreme Court to intervene before next Tuesday's meeting. Jerome Powell has to come out of the shadows. He cannot meet in secret. President Trump was right when he said in 2017 that the government needs to be open, honest, and accountable to the American people. And Azoria is standing up to President Trump's aim on that point.
And of course,
the game is afoot. Okay, so let's see. Mike said, soon we will see the Fed as the head of the snake. They have financed every bad thing we have done. And then Chachi had said, I think Powell is playing the role quite well. I agree with both of you. I think Powell has been kind of a help to President Trump in terms of the way things have been going down, because he's made some kind of rather ridiculous mistakes if he was trying to keep whatever's going on or to make it persist further. And I think that, yeah, the Fed is going to have to really be found out in terms of everything they're doing. Hey, Cal Bear, thanks for joining. Let's see. He said, I agree with this guy. Why should the Fed have so much power over the economy? Whose side are they on anyway? And we know that there were a lot of changes back to the Federal Reserve when President Trump came into office. And remember, that they had taken the sign off of the front of the Federal Reserve building in Missouri back right before Biden took office, and that never got put back up. So again, lots of little things, if you have your eyes open, that you're seeing this. So the thing that he was talking about there, and I really like what he was saying, he reminded me who Azoria was, because I couldn't remember who it was right off the top of my head, but he said that's the one that's running the fund that's the anti-DEI fund, and they've been having lots and lots of success. Surprise. Because businesses don't need to be run off of politics. Businesses should be run based off of business principles. That's why they're businesses and not politicians. But we should keep business and politics separated overall. But he also said something very important, and that is that they have basically a rebuttal ready for any appeal that is made, which means that they're ready to go. That they already know what their lawyers are going to say, and they're going to bring the Supreme Court in, and they're going to play the exact same game that the left has been doing to try to hamstring President Trump with all the things he's doing with ICE and the immigrants and everything that President Trump does. So they're going to play the same game right back. So this lawfare that we've been in has gone to the next level, and now the tables have turned. Boomerang, if you choose to use that word, the boomerang looks like it's about to come back if they choose to continue to play games. But this is all again. Let's see. Congress is going to go on recess for 5 weeks. That gives us another 5 weeks for everything else to continue to play out. It's time for the good popcorn. All right. Bethany says, she's relaying Chops. Thank you, Bethany. Chop says, inflation is the tax on the money left when the IRS takes first dibs. Boy, ain't that the truth. Calbear says, did you catch the name of that anti-DEI fund? Azoria, Azoria, or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I got for that.
You ready?
Uh-huh.
Let's listen.
All righty.
The Bible says in Isaiah 43:18, forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. We all have things in our past we wish we could change, mistakes we made, opportunities we missed, people we hurt or who hurt us. But here's the reality. You can't go back. You can't relive yesterday no matter how much you want to. But you can choose what you do today. You can start fresh right where you are. God is not asking you to pretend the past didn't happen. He's asking you not to let it define you. He's saying, move forward. Trust me, I'm not done with you. Maybe right now you're uncertain. You're not sure which way to go. And that's okay, because you don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to take one step at a time. Faith isn't about having a perfect map. It's about trusting that God knows the way, even when you don't. And every struggle you're facing right now, it's not random. It's not meaningless. God can use it to grow your faith, to build your character, to draw you closer to Him. The truth is, His plan for you is bigger than what you can see right now. His timing isn't always our timing, and that's frustrating sometimes, but it's always right. So I want to encourage you today, trust the God who sees the bigger picture. Trust the God who isn't limited by your past, your mistakes, or even your fears. He's working even when you can't see it. He's preparing good things ahead for you, things you never imagined. Type amen and share it with
Thoughts?
All right, so just going to read Isaiah chapter 43, verse 18 again. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. Here's 19. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. We make mistakes in life, and those mistakes, it's part of our very human existence. And when we are worried about the things in the past, we're in the end not forgiving ourselves for the things that we did. And that's an extremely important thing, because who are we to determine that our standards are higher than God's if He's willing to forgive us, so long as we're walking the path now? If we're walking the right path, we're falling back in line with the teachings of Jesus or Yeshua, depending upon however you say his name. If you're falling in line with what Jesus was preaching and following the law like He asked us to do, God has already forgiven you. So why are you holding on to it yourself? Why is your standard so much higher than God's? And that's something that we all need to work on, because if we can't forgive ourselves for the things that we've done, and I fall into this trap all the time too. I feel if I don't forgive myself, if I don't beat myself up, then I'm going to keep making these mistakes. But the problem is it's always on your mind. Whereas if you forgive yourself for it and you change your focus in those times where you're feeling weak to something that's more God-centered, then you are less likely at that point in time to fall into those traps again. It's about making sure that the fruits of our labor is good fruit. And if we're doing good things with our time, then we don't have time to create a scenario where we would be providing bad fruit, which needs to be pruned. And we all know that the pruning seasons are not fun. So we, try to sit forward in that saddle and make sure that we're doing good things, and know deep down inside your heart and soul that God has already forgiven you. So please forgive yourself, so that way you're not bringing that negative energy forward into the future for something that doesn't even exist anymore, because that was then.
Yeah. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you.
You ready?
Yes.
Would you read that, please?
Right, certainly. Hunter Biden and Gavin Newsom, or Newscum as it says, align on racist perspectives about housekeepers and dishwashers.
Let's listen.
Oops.
Hunter Biden is being raked over the coals for that interview that he did.
People are really upset about illegal immigration. You. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned? How do you think you got food on your table? Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your garden? If I became president in 2 years from now, or 4 years from now, or 3 years from now, I would pick up the phone and call the president of El Salvador and say, you either send them back or I'm going to invade.
The backlash to his obscenity-laced interview has been
How presidential.
intense, and it's actually been coming from both sides. Here's the thing, though. Hunter Biden sounds a lot like some other mainstream Democrats when it comes to immigration.
There's been a chilling impact across the country, not just in states like California, but a lot of day laborers picked up in California.
His agents are arresting dishwashers, gardeners, day laborers, and seamstresses.
Where exactly is the daylight between Hunter Biden and Gavin Newsom, give or take an F-bomb or 7? The view that it is not just morally wrong, but economically wrong to deport illegal migrants because they do the jobs Americans don't want to do has become absolute canon in the Democratic Party. They say that they're coming for their community members, but what they actually mean is they're coming for their cheap illegal workforce. This is the real reason they are so upset about Trump's deportations. They've become addicted to cheap illegal labor done by migrants whose willingness to work for less than an American has slashed wages in the industries where they are most represented. Here is the key fact, though. Every one of those industries is still mostly done by American citizens. That's right. There isn't a single industry in America in which the illegal share is more than 30% of the workforce. Those hotel housekeeping workers that we couldn't survive without, 80% of them are American citizens. It is an insult to those Americans to say we need illegal migrants to do those jobs because Americans won't do them. What they mean is they won't do them for those wages. But it's not only Democrats talking this way. Congresswoman Maria Salazar has a new bill out, the Dignity Act, that seeks to allow illegal migrants to continue working in the United States if they've been here for over 5 years with no criminal record. Of course, it won't work because what the employers employing illegal workers want is the illegal part. If you legalize them, suddenly you have to pay them real wages.
Thoughts?
I think we've heard this
And
argument.
hey, Mikey.
Hey, Mikey. Yeah, thanks for joining, Mikey. He did misspell illegal aliens. I've heard this argument in my history books when they said, who's going to pick our cotton? Same party, by the way, still same mentality. They haven't changed. And the comments that y'all were bringing up, yeah, I make my own bed. I do my own yard. I pick my food if I'm growing it, and I do just fine. I'm not as bougie as so many people who are happy to hire people like that. Let's see. LP says Hunter Biden is Gavin Newsom. I'll check with Tyler. Left Lane says, I don't care. They all need to go back to Mexico and come back in the right way. And that's the only way they need to come in. That's the point. This is a nation of immigrants. Even the Native Americans are not from this continent. That is per science, right? So therefore, we're all immigrants. Some have just been here longer than others. What the American experiment says is we allow immigration and we have no problem with that. And we've always been like that. But what we want is people to come in and do things the right way. What's the right way? Through the front door, doing the appropriate paperwork so that way we know who you are, that you're not coming over here to do stuff, trying to run away from the country that you're in because you were doing something illegal to begin with. We don't want that. What we want is people who want to become a part of the melting pot.
Like the guy yesterday we played that was truly happy to get his citizenship.
Exactly. It's either you want to be a part of this nation or you want to invade it and tell us that we need to do it differently. That's not how it works. You're invaders. I'm sorry that you don't like that word, but in the end, tell me, change my mind. Prove otherwise that you're not invading our nation.
Right.
Anyways, Left Lane says, I personally know a couple of Filipino people that really deserve to come to this country. Straight A student, straight A's all the way through college. But, and see, that's another thing too, is that's not
There's
really.
the rest of
Okay. There we go. All the way through. But, because of the immigration law, they can't get into the country. Sadly, that happens in so many ways. See, I've worked for an illegal alien who owns a business here in this country. I've also worked for a business where they hired illegal aliens, in which case the illegal aliens made more than I did. I don't have a problem doing the jobs that the illegal aliens are doing. I have a problem that there's plenty of people who would rather have those jobs and be willing to get the pay so that way we can, have jobs and have less poverty in our nation with people who were born here. If there's poverty because there's no jobs, because people are from foreign countries are taking them, and that includes jobs that would be skilled labor or unskilled labor. If there's unemployed Americans, we need to make sure that they have those jobs. It's really plain and simple. And we need to respect the people who are currently immigrating legally. It is absolutely disrespectful to the people who are immigrating here and becoming naturalized citizens, as opposed to the people who are coming here, working illegally, sending all the money back home, and taking money out of our own economy and buffing the economy in other nations. Mike says, I'm not against immigration. I'm against illegal immigration. I do think the government makes it hard for good people to come. I can believe that, right? Because we believe the science, right?
There's that.
There is that.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Hold on. I'm going to get my monocle ready.
Okay.
I hope.
Yes.
Okay,
Would
good.
you read that, please?
All right. Vanderbilt's Janet Roberts was caught on camera disparaging Senator Marsha Blackburn.
Let's listen.
And we have this one, gosh, I think she's a representative or something. I just heard that she may run for governor, and I'm going, oh, God, I know, she's ridiculous. Blackburn. Yes, I know. I heard that, and I went, it's a very weird place right now. We are heavily supported by federal money. Facility side of it, we will, we're not advertising diversity and inclusion lectures. We used to have a whole series. So, things like that have changed. A lot of things like that have changed. And then meetings for students. And I mean, it's if it's student led, that's one thing, but it's not organized from the office. And that's just been over the last few months. We're flying under the radar. I mean, honestly.
It trailed off.
Yeah, it trailed off, and it was a lot of noise that was making it a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
Whatever. So basically, people telling politicians how to live their life and how to think.
You want to read that?
Left Lane says, I'll tell you what, those guys in Tennessee don't care much for Marsha Blackburn. I mean, we voted for her. We voted her in because there was nothing else, but she hadn't done diddly squat for the state of Tennessee. Nothing. That's the problem is the politicians, they get up there and they end up not doing the things that they should be doing, which is representing the people that they've been elected to represent. And obviously there's some major corruption going on. And I think that we all know this, we understand this, and nobody likes it in this country. And everybody will benefit from what I believe President Trump and everybody is working toward. It's going to change. It has no choice but to change. And if nothing else, it's coming to a head, and that is going to force some kind of change. We just need to make sure that we are staying peaceful and having our faith entirely in our Creator, which is exactly what he asks us to do. Santino, looks like I need to get me a monocle. They're amazing. Highly recommended. Aaron says, freaking hell, I missed the beginning again. And another show I want to watch is starting. So many good shows. Hey, have a good time, Aaron. Bounce back and forth between the two. We love you, man. We love you. Monocle, top hat, and a Persian cat. What's the Persian cat for?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Am I the Monopoly guy? No, I've needed glasses, but the glasses, I don't like glasses, and I've always talked about a monocle, and now I have a monocle, and it's awesome.
There you
it's
go.
a great reader. Let's see. Mikey, he has some sort of obsession with the idea of a monocle. Effing Marines, what can you do? I bumped my head one too many times, and I'm having fun, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, he has not stopped smiling since that thing was delivered. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Let's please move on.
Would you read that, please?
Well, I don't need the monocle for this one. Rand Paul on the Federal Reserve, the craziest scam you've ever heard of.
Let's listen.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
What is it, a $2 billion renovation that the Federal Reserve's Washington, D.C. headquarters? That's pretty pricey stuff. What's going on?
Well, the Federal Reserve doesn't even have congressional oversight as far as the power of the purse. They just print it up. And so they started out at $1.9 billion, and they're $600 million over. They're up to $2.5 billion. They're $600,000, or a 33% increase in over the original estimate. Not only the Federal Reserve, holds American debt, so we have to raise taxes to pay the Federal Reserve interest. They get our interest, then they're paying our interest back to big banks to tell them not to loan money. It's the craziest scam you've ever heard of, but it's real money now. And, there's nothing that unites the right and the left. It's when taxpayer money or government-controlled money like this is going from the regular middle class to the very wealthy elite, not only of our country, but of the world.
Thoughts?
We've all known that the Federal Reserve is a scam. We're paying interest for having them print up fake money, and they're just raking in dough. And we all know, of course. Then again, okay, I'm going to go back in history a little bit here. What was it? Executive Order 11101, I think it was, by JFK, which was his last executive order before the whole Daily Plaza. That's it. Daily Plaza. Before all of that stuff.
Hang your Texas head in shame.
I've got a lot of stuff going on in my head.
Okay.
All right. I'll get it right. Anyways, it was about the Federal Reserve and making our money legitimate again. Thank you. So it's a dangerous game that's being played when you go after the Federal Reserve. After all, this is something that was put together on Jekyll Island, and shortly after that, there was the whole Titanic thing, which took out the people that were against it. And there's been a lot of kind of secret world kind of stuff going on. So it's a dangerous game, but I'm happy to see that it looks like there's enough momentum. And like Mike was saying earlier, it's almost like Jerome Powell is helping Trump out to try to bring down the Federal Reserve. It's something that we need. We need to fix our money. Our money is broken. Our money's been broken. All you have to do is look at inflation, look at where gold's at. I refer to this a lot, and that was Henry Ford's $5 a day pay. And so a $20 gold piece was 1 ounce of gold. So really it was, I haven't done the math lately, but if you were just to do a $20 gold piece for every week's worth of work, I think you're doing all right. So we need to fix the money. The money is what has screwed everybody, and taking the Federal Reserve down is the number one goal to try to make equality an actual thing in this country again. Mike Stagg says Rand Paul should have said federal taxes are illegal. He is in on it. I know that he's still fighting with the system right there. And yeah, the taxes, I'm hoping that's what the tariffs are for. Trump has talked about taking taxes off of the American people, running this country off of tariffs like it always was before. And I'm sure that the federal government will do just fine off of any kind of tariff, anything that it has. So again, we're just waiting for stuff to play out and just keep that watchful eye. Elf Beast, Nasara Jasara. I've heard about that. I've seen photos of the supposed rainbow currency. That would be nice. I would love to have all currencies based on commodity based money. It's so much more healthy than we say it's worth this because we said.
Yeah.
Why anybody ever accepted that, I have no idea. But then again, that would also explain so much about the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
With the yellow brick road. Steph says they just printing up Monopoly money. Yes, Monopoly money.
You ready?
Yes.
How about some Kelly?
Oh, okay. I don't need this.
Let's
I was hoping that was going to be a good segue.
I know.
All right, let's take a look at this. My storm has been going on for months and it just keeps getting worse. It hasn't been letting up. I believe in Jesus, but my faith isn't that strong anymore. Listen, man, the reason I wanted to address this comment is because I guarantee you are not the only one feeling like this. So let's look at it, all right? You're saying that you had big faith when the storm started. As you should. You read the Bible, right? You know the promises of God. You know that he sees ahead of you. You know that he goes before you. He saw this storm coming before you did. He's gone ahead and made a way. So you probably had big faith at the beginning that God was going to show up and make a way, just like many of you watching. I believe that God was going to make a way, but where is he? I've been going through this storm for months and years, and right? Let's look at the story of Jairus. Okay, you remember Jairus, right? He was a Pharisee, Sadducee, a religious leader. He has a daughter. She's 12 years old. She's so sick, she's going to die. They've tried everything. They've tried medicine, doctors. Nothing works. Finally, he says, I'm going to go to Jesus. He goes to Jesus and tells him about his daughter, and Jesus says, I'm going to heal your daughter. Let's just pause and just imagine the amount of faith that Jairus has in that moment, right? Massive faith. Jesus just told me he's coming to heal my daughter. What do I got to worry about, right? Now listen, you have the same promise from Jesus, because on the cross 2,000 years ago, he paid for your salvation, absolutely. But he also paid for your healing. He paid for your deliverance. He paid for your marriage, your finances, your job, your kids, your life, your whatever, bought and paid for. You have the same promise. It's done. It is finished. Amen? Well, let's watch. Jairus and Jesus start walking to Jairus' house to heal his daughter. But on the way, somebody else shows up. The woman with the issue of blood. She touches his robe. Power leaves Jesus. He stops. He talks to her. He says he loves her. He calls her daughter. And while this is happening, someone from Jairus' house shows up and says, hey, man, don't bother Jesus anymore. It's too late. Your daughter passed away. Now, let's just imagine Jairus, who had huge faith 10 seconds ago, 10 minutes ago, because Jesus said he was coming to heal her. Feels like it's too late. Feels like Jesus didn't follow through. Feels like God didn't show up. Matter of fact, not only did God not show up for me, but he was helping everybody else instead of me. And I know that some of you watching this feel that way right now. You're in the middle of a storm, the worst possible situation that your life could ever be in, and it feels like God has forgotten about you. He doesn't care, but you see him meeting needs in other people's lives, right? Blessing them, healing her, giving them a promotion, right? Listen, that's where Jairus is, but watch what happens. Watch what happens. Jesus looks at Jairus and says, don't be afraid, just have faith. Now, why did Jesus say that to him? What did Jairus say? Nothing. Jesus said that to him because there's an option for every single one of us. Jairus had the option. Bro, you have the option. Anyone watching, going through this, you have the option to choose fear or faith. Watch this. You cannot have both at the same time. Did you know that? You can't have fear and faith at the same time. Why? They both want the same thing from you. Fear wants you to believe something that hasn't happened yet. Faith wants you to believe something that hasn't happened yet. The only difference is, which one are you going to believe? Amen? So Jesus looks at him and says, hey, don't be afraid, just have faith. Now watch, I love Jairus' response. You know what Jairus says? Nothing. All he does is stay in the story. He doesn't quit. Now look, let's break this down. Let's be real honest about it. He had huge faith when Jesus said, I'll come to your house and heal your daughter. But right now in this moment, all he knows is my daughter is dead. Now Jesus is telling me not to be afraid, so I'm going to stick with him. I'm going to trust him. Listen, he had the option to walk away and say, you failed. It didn't work. You're not a good God. You're not all loving. You didn't follow through with your promise, right? Like so many of us do in the middle of a storm when it seems like he's taking care of everyone else, but not us. But Jairus didn't. He stayed in the story. Here's what I want you to see. Big faith at the beginning. Right now, though, I guarantee you, Jairus' faith is beat up next to nothing. Tiny, just destroyed. In his mind, his daughter's dead, right? Listen, here's what I want you to see. All of this to get to right here. We've heard our entire lives. We've read it in the Bible over and over. We hear it at church, at camps, at conferences. Faith the size of a mustard seed will move a mountain. That's tiny, bro. That's tiny, tiny. A mustard seed is one of the smallest seeds. Jesus is saying if you have just a little bit of faith, just a tiny bit, you can move a mountain. Now, the problem with that is when we hear that verse, we think of faith the size of a mustard seed to move a mountain. We think of this mountain just scooting right out of the way, right? If I told you to close your eyes and I read that verse, in your mind, you probably saw a mountain moving out of the way. But here's what God showed me. Kelly, what if I moved the mountain one rock at a time? See, the mountain is moving. It just doesn't feel like it to you. See, I am working in your situation. It just doesn't look like it to you. See, I am going ahead of you. I have made a way. It just doesn't look like it to you. Faith the size of a mustard seed will move a mountain. Here's what I'm trying to say to you, man. Let me encourage you and anyone else going through this. It's not about the size of your faith, man. It's not about massive, huge faith, believing that God's going to come through no matter what, or faith that's beat up saying, I'm barely hanging on. The only thing that matters is faith that lasts. Faith that lasts. I mean, look at Peter walking on the water, right? He gets out of the boat, walks on the water with Jesus. He starts to sink, and what does Jesus say? Oh, ye of little faith. Whoa, Jesus, are you kidding me, bro? Little faith. He's the only one out of the disciples that got out of the boat. That's massive faith. There's more than one definition for little. Two, when I looked it up, one said small in size or stature. The other said short in length or duration. Please understand, little faith, O ye of little faith. What Jesus was telling Peter on the water wasn't that he didn't have big faith. He had massive faith. What he was saying is, Peter, bro, your faith didn't last very long. It didn't last very long. You need to stay in the story. You need to keep going, keep believing. I am moving the mountain, one rock at a time. Amen. So let me encourage you today, man. Whether your faith is huge or it's beat down next to nothing, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that your faith is still in Jesus. You're choosing faith over fear, even if it's beat down next to nothing, and just trust. God is moving the mountain, one rock at a time. Stay in the story. Keep pressing in. God is working. He loves you. He has a plan for you, a plan to prosper you, not to harm you. That's the God we serve. Amen. I hope this blessed you today. Think about that for a minute.
Man. Kelly's awesome. So he brought out one of Kelly's classics, and that's moving a mountain one rock at a time. And that's so true. You know, Kay and I have been going through the ringer with her car accident and trying to get the help and everything. And we've kept our faith. You know, we didn't understand why everything was taking so long. Actually, honestly, we still don't know why things are taking so long, but we know that it's in our best interest. Everything is happening for a reason. And so just we were having a moment, you know, starting to get close to living in fear about, you know, what's going to happen, how is it going to work, how are we going to get her fixed. And she was on her way to go talk to a neurologist, and I jokingly said, in terms of asking for a sign, I said, well, ask God for a sign. Say, you know, if she asks to water your camels and bring you some water as well, then, you know that this is the right path. And Kay, would you like to continue this story, ma'am?
So when I walk into the office, there's a picture of a camel in front of the Vegas Strip from like the 40s or 50s,
60s, yeah.
Somewhere around there.
This is 60s kind of
And
stuff.
I was laughing so hard thinking about that, because I texted Santino immediately and told him about it. And then when she came in and I was laughing, you know, she asked, of course, well,
what's so funny?
What's so funny? And I said, well, you have a camel in your thing. She said, you know why I have that camel? And she's a Christian doctor. She says, I have that camel because I know there's signs everywhere, and I don't normally get the burning bush or any of that. She goes, but I always think about when Isaac sent his servant, or not Isaac. Yes, Isaac sent his servant to, or no, Abraham sent his servant to get Isaac.
Get Isaac a wife. That's what it was.
And
that's what it was.
And she said, that's why I have the camel.
Because it was a reminder of that very story that I was referencing on our way to the doctor. And we got some great information, and it was very reassuring. And we've been trying, you know, for at least a year, more than a year, many years, to try to find a neurologist. Once it was confirmed that there were problems with the neck, that the search was on at that point in time, and we've been struggling to find someone that has that open heart, and finally found one, and got a lot of the answers that we need. Okay, I want to kind of scoot back up here a little bit. Mikey had said, and thank you for the Rumble rant, sir. Do truly appreciate it. Luke chapter 15, verse 4. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? Amen. We're always trying to find the lost ones. Okay, Aaron says, give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world. Archimedes said that. Archimedes, let's see, God is the lever and the fulcrum is faith. Amen, man. Amen. Calbear says, that was great. I never heard that. It really makes sense. Moving the mountain one rock at a time. And it is faith of a mustard seed. faith of a mustard seed. It's
Hey,
a little bit.
Silver.
Hey, Silver, thanks for joining. Anyway, so and that faith of a mustard seed, they're very small, and but they're around, and that's the thing is you just have to have that little bit of faith, and you're gonna have challenges. Your faith is going to be challenged. This time we live in is challenging to faith in general, and it's just about letting those negative thoughts go and saying, no, the Lord is my rock whom I cling to. And that is something that has truly helped us in our lives and in our difficult journeys that we've had. And it's not to say that our journeys are any more difficult than anybody else's, but I will say that we've had a difficult journey. And I can say with confidence that as we have put our faith into action in every aspect of our life, and we have said, nope, I'm not going to believe that bad things are going to happen. I believe that God is going to come through. He is doing this for my growth. He is doing this to make me stronger in faith with him. And he proves himself right every single time. And these are the things that you can't explain to people who don't have that faith because they haven't stepped out that way. And so it's an experiment that we do. Okay, I'm going to put my faith in God, and he keeps coming through each and every time. So how awesome is that? And so when you find that your faith is wavering, just remember how small a mustard seed is, and that's all you have to maintain is brush away the attacks of the devil and refocus that energy back on God, knowing full well that he is going to come through for you each and every time in the best way that it can happen. And a lot of the times, we find out that things don't happen for our best reason. And the only way we can figure that out is with hindsight. When we look back, it all becomes a lot more clear.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, and we got Sheriff Hector over on Pill.
Hey, Sheriff Hector, thanks for joining.
You ready?
Yes.
Would you read that, please?
Certainly. John Solomon breaks down revelations about the early days of Russiagate.
Let's listen.
Well, let's take Barack Obama's statement at the start. None of this makes sense. Let's make sense of it for your audience. Barack Obama attends a meeting in July 2016 before Crossfire Hurricane is opened by the FBI targeting the Republican nominee for the 2016 presidential election. And he's told Hillary Clinton is going to invent a scandal. She's going to hang a fake Russian signal on Donald Trump's campaign house and make it look like Vladimir Putin is trying to help him win the election. They know the fix is in at the beginning. Barack Obama does not stop his FBI or his intelligence committee from then investigating that very allegation, though they know it emanates from a dirty trick inside of the Trump campaign, inside the Hillary Clinton campaign. In fall, after the first effort to defeat Trump failed, they don't defeat him. The Russia stuff doesn't work, even though Christopher Steele and others tried to peddle it as hard as they could. Barack Obama assembles a team. He assembles it. He orders this ICA. And this intelligence committee assessment reverses what the intelligence community just concluded, that Vladimir Putin in September didn't have a preference of which candidate to win. He was just trying to sow chaos, which, by the way, is the traditional Soviet playbook. To get to that conclusion, they have to take a document that has been fully discredited by December of 2016 and inject it into the earlier intelligence assessment. That document is the Steele dossier. In December, when they used the Steele dossier at Barack Obama's direction, this is the new assessment they're doing, Steele's already been fired. It's already been proven that none of the statements in his dossier are true. The FBI had a spreadsheet knocking them all down, or that none of them could be corroborated if they weren't knocked down. And three, they know the rest of the CIA doesn't believe the document should be used. And what do? They put it in that dossier. One more thing, just real quickly. In January, as he's leaving office, the FBI has cleared Mike Flynn. President Obama presides over a meeting with the FBI to figure out how they can keep pursuing Flynn and hamper the beginning of the Trump presidency. Barack Obama was at the center of those three actions, were a major part of the weaponization episode.
All right. So, oh no, don't, that's the wrong button. Here, let me get, how do I remove it? You're going to have to remove it. All right. So The Steele dossier, again, this is just more beaten down the narrative that has been presented over and over and over again every single time in terms of that has been presented over and over again in terms of Donald Trump is, bad, blah, 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 blah. And so the other side of the information is finally making its way out. And that is part of, hold on a second. Neighbors bringing the food. Geez. Anyways, so it's part and parcel of what has to happen because the counter narrative has to come out, which hasn't been allowed to see the light of day. Now we're seeing this. Also, it's being corroborated by official sources, just like it was official sources that were telling this information. So now what's happening is we have the FBI versus the FBI and counter narratives clashing with each other. And those counter narratives have to play themselves out, especially before we go to any kind of a court case. And that's what is all kind of playing out right in front of our eyes. And thank God you're back because I'm running out of things to say. And yeah, there we go. Thank you. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
We have great neighbors, by the way.
We do.
We do.
Okay. Would you read that, please?
Yes. I'll get this right here. Okay. Greg Gutfeld tears into liberal co-host Jessica Tarlov for glossing over new Russiagate details. Save me your selective outrage.
Let's listen.
I love Greg Gutfeld. He's great. Yeah. Yeah. That would be terrible to have to be her on the 5.
Yeah.
Because she's like the only voice of, I don't want to, yeah, she's the only voice for the other side.
Let's listen.
Mm-hmm.
This is such old news. It's beyond comprehension that we're talking about. And I understand that this Epstein situation is very tricky for the administration. And day by day, it gets worse and worse and worse. But they are pulling out all of the greatest hits to try to inflame the minds of their most, conspiracy theory addled base so that they hear Brennan, Clapper, Obama, Hillary, and they get activated. And suddenly they won't be mad at Trump anymore for not releasing the Epstein files or whatever he had to do with any of it. It's preposterous that we were talking about Hillary Clinton's emails again in year 2025.
We spent years on this story. No, let me, we had to take this story seriously for years, and it was false.
It wasn't false.
No. For people to understand what happened, all right? Because the problem with this story is that nobody knows what you're talking about. When Trump won in 2016, the intel community concluded that Russia didn't have a hand in his victory. Instead of accepting the inclusion, Obama determined and wanted a new conclusion. So he sent Brennan running to come up with a new collusion, that there was some kind of trivial involvement that then they could feed out to the media. And coincidentally, dozens of news organizations said that Trump was in bed with Putin and that somehow Brennan knew. Brennan knew. How did he know?
Why
There was
did
no
John
proof.
Durham
There
do
was no
nothing?
proof. There was no
Why
proof.
did Durham do nothing then?
But no, let me finish. They amplified a false conclusion that Trump colluded with Russia in 2016. We had to spend years dealing with that. And now we're actually getting investigation, and you're saying, no, you know what? You guys should just move on. You guys should just move. You say the same effing thing about Biden's brain. You guys spent 4 years telling us that Joe Biden was fine. You covered up for an invalid. And then when we get the truth, it's like, oh, you know what? It's time. We got to look forward. We got to start talking about what's there. And you can bring up Epstein all you want. We, unlike Democrats, we can handle 2 things, 3 things, 4 things at once.
Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, no. Have you been listening to the right lately? The right is more on top of Epstein than the Democrats are. The Democrats never cared about Epstein until they saw a political motivation. The right was into the Epstein story because women were being sex trafficked. We actually cared. But now you're like, ooh, Epstein, a political angle. Ooh, this is fantastic. Save me your selective outrage.
Well,
Man. Boy, he dropped a bomb right there. Man, that was That was something else. Left Lane says, besides the language, I agree with him 100%. They've been feeding us on my number malarkey. Oh, on that malarkey for a long time, I guess is how I'm understanding that.
We know you meant Greg.
Yeah, we knew you meant Greg. It's fine. It's fine. No judgments here because we all make mistakes. We're human. We're designed that way.
Yeah. And I agree with Mike. So much truth coming out all at once.
100%. So here's the thing. Oh, well, hold on before we move on. Silver says, when nuclear threat and civil unrest are added, it will be the storm. I think we're in enough of the storm. I don't think we need any more of that. But I did hear something today about how our nuclear system was compromised somehow by some mysterious foreign actor doing, hacking things. I have no idea which nation that would be. But anyways, so here's the thing. Greg Gutfeld hit the nail on the head. They've been gaslighting us this whole time, telling everything. Everybody, even the way she talks, it's so condescending. She thinks she's so superior to everybody. You're talking about the Hillary Clinton emails again. She deleted 33,000 emails from her private server, which was not secured and had top secret information on it. It also had information about Benghazi. I can tell you that there's some service members that I know about that are a little pissed off about the way shit went down in Benghazi when they left those people out to dry. And they just left them out there, and the ability to support them was less than an hour away. If I'm not mistaken, I think they were 30 minutes away and could have saved so much time and effort and would have dispersed everything. It was a hit job, and it was just an evil action, and that's why she deleted it. And so, yes, deletion of those 33,000 emails is extremely important because it ties her directly to the treason that's going to be proved either with or without those damn emails. But I have a feeling we have all of those emails regardless. So, and that's just one tiny aspect. And like Greg Gutfeld was talking about, we can keep all of these little things inside of our head. I can't even remember the name of it right now. The gun running thing across the border where we were given all of this military hardware. No, not the Iran-Contra, more recent than that. It was during the Obama years when Clinton was there. Crossfire Hurricane, I think is what it was. Anyways, so many treasonous acts supporting and directly providing weapons to people who are known enemies to the United States by those within our government. Of course we're pissed. And no, we're not conspiracy theorists. We're just paying attention. That's the difference. I'm sorry you don't know how to pay attention, but I can tell you that you shouldn't have much of a say if you're not paying attention. So go back on autopilot and get the hell off of the TV because you're just making more of a mess by merely repeating talking points. Oh, Fast and Furious. That's what it was. Crossfire Hurricane was something else. Anyways, so many rotten, evil things that these people have done. You can't even keep up with all of it. Anyway, C-Strike says, Trump is now the hunter. Yes, he is. Silver says, Barry knew they were going to make up that Trump was a Russian agent. They had to. They had no choice because they knew that Trump was coming after him and that Trump was going to clean house. They were scared. They knew it. Time to pay the piper, I guess. Mm-hmm. Steph says, Curly Q said you thought you got rid of me. What? I don't understand it. Fast and Furious. Thank you, Silver. Appreciate that. Hillary is so transparent. That's why I love so much. Barf. It's called the Iran-Contra. That was another one. That was one during the Reagan years. Yeah. But I'm sure it was being perpetrated by those who hate this country. Crossfire Hurricane was the spying operation. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, again, there's so many of these things that are not conspiracies that point directly to the very thing that we're all looking for relief from, which is those who are part of some organization that hates traditional American values and the ability for everybody to just live within their own individual liberty bubble. Mm-hmm. Personal liberty. That's what it's all about. Yeah, I got you, Mikey. It's I know everybody wants to get rid of these people, I'm in complete disagreement with that. I know everybody's in salty language here. I know everybody's, the eat shit and die category. I'm the eat shit and live category. Make them eat it. Make them stay alive. Make them watch how great everything is with them in a box, in a cage, just like they put all of the illegal migrants that were coming across as they were hand selecting all of the little people that they could separate the unaccompanied minors from. Yeah, those evil people. Give them cages and give them the same punishment, I guess, since there's no cruel and unusual punishment. If that's what's the Bible phrase I've been saying a lot lately? The measure with which you use will be used to the measure that will be used against you. Use their measure against them. That's how I feel. Anyways, Left Lane says that's a problem. We are paying attention. They want us to remain numb, and then they're holler squirrel, and then do something behind our back and think we won't pay attention to it. 100%. Hey, Danelle, thanks for joining again. Grand evening. Much love, everybody. Love to everybody.
Oh.
Curly Q was the guy that had the curl. Oh yeah, going down his head. His bangs that was on TikTok. That was supposedly one of those that got shot. I guess you can say shot. Well, it's too late now. Got shot in Benghazi. He said, "You thought you got rid of me." Yeah. Okay, that's it. Oh, there we go. Elf Beast, Pizzagate, Obamagate, Russiagate, Hell, Watergate.
Yeah.
All of the gates.
All the gates.
Yeah, all the gates.
Yep. You ready?
To include Bill.
Ugh. Ready?
Yes.
Would you read that, please?
Certainly. All right, here we go. Clapper is scared, as he should be.
Let's listen.
We should.
When the director says that she's referred these filings to the Justice Department for criminal investigation, tonight we're told
fumbling too. She's nervous.
Strike force. Do you have concerns that they will attempt to prosecute you?
Well, certainly I do. After 8.5 years of this, and I don't know of an intelligence product that was more scrutinized, more investigated than that product was.
Maybe now.
Numerous people. It's very disconcerting. It really is. And I take seriously when the President of the United States accuses me of being a participant in a treasonous conspiracy, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, what's your reaction to that?
It's ridiculous. It is untrue.
So what do you do if they come after you? What is it?
Well, I'll lawyer up, I suppose. Already have.
You've already hired attorneys in anticipation that this Trump Justice Department could try to prosecute you.
We've had sort of perpetual attorneys since I left the government in 2017.
2017, huh? Interesting.
Thoughts?
So, obviously he's nervous. She sounded nervous. He's trying to play it cool, but then again, he's a lifelong liar and is trying to hold true to his narrative of it's the most scrutinized report ever. Maybe now it will most certainly be the most scrutinized report in the future. Hopefully it will be taught in college American history classes. I think that's most certainly something that should be taught because we can't allow this to happen ever again. Never again should we allow our nation to be taken over by a bunch of egotistical little jackasses that think that they can do it better than everybody else.
Exactly.
The sound effects. Hey, you know what? When they're full of it, you just got to let the world know.
Exactly. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
All right.
When God wants to make a man powerful, he always shreds him into pieces first. Never forget, it's a process with God. Without pain, there would be no growth. So accept the pain, embrace the pain, because God is there to ask you, do you really want to achieve your goals? And when you start walking with God, people will stop walking with you. Not because they don't like you, but because you're about to sacrifice things they're not willing to sacrifice. And when God takes you to deep waters, not everyone will be able to swim with you. However, Do not confuse movement with progress because you can run in place, but not get anything done. I want you to take a moment and think, are you moving forward? Who are you taking with? And how are you making things better? By God's given power, you have a gift. You were born with it. Now it's time for you to develop that gift. You need to do everything necessary to protect it, and then you share it. The process won't be easy, but trust in God's plan, keep pushing forward, and never give up.
Thoughts?
There we go. So the good video, and it one of the important things is and I talk about it a lot, and that's the refiner's fire. You know, like gold purified 7 times. Each time that gold goes into the fire, so that way it can be purified. I'm sure it's not fun, but those impurities, as they're brought up to the top and you take the slag off, it's that much more pure. So it's that purification process, the purification of who we are, so that way we can become better versions of who we were. We can become more pure version, and to become pure is not easy. It's like bleach is very caustic, but it sure does make your whites bright, doesn't it? It's just part of the process. Cleaning something is not necessarily easy on whatever is being cleaned, but once the process is done, then it's good. And so these spiritual baggage that we've picked up because we weren't paying attention to the things we were, should have known better from what we were doing, but we couldn't have done better because of the way we were raised or who we are. We all have the life circumstances. And so we need to consider ourselves blessed that we are going through these trials and challenges. We need to directly address these problems in our life, because these problems in our life directly address the things that we need to change about ourselves. Those are the impurities. And so we go after these impurities so that way we can have that better life. And sometimes those impurities are purely egotistical, vanity, where we say, I'm going to do this, I can do that, when we need to recognize, no, there's no I about it. It is God working through us. It's just a matter of us accepting it. If we don't accept it, then we will continue to make mistakes. So we go through these trials and challenges, the refiner's fire, so that God can see his reflection in the silver. And then once he can see his reflection, then he knows that we are a purity that he wants us to move forward with. But it doesn't mean that he's still not going to be guiding us. As a matter of fact, we want that guidance. We just got to let go of what we think how things should be. Left Lane says, hey, brother, how can I follow you? I really like your podcast. Man, I came in on a raid and I'm not really technically smart. Let's see. If you're on Rumble, I don't internet much. Kay, help me out here.
I'm sure
Where's
they
the
know.
subscribe button?
I
don't even know where the subscribe button is.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm not a computer person at all.
I'm sure Bethany
I eat
can
crayons. Whatever.
Oh my gosh.
They're so tasty.
Okay. Are you ready?
Thanks for the question. Oh, hold on. It's
there
right
it
next to the thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Bethany. She says, top of the page, when you close comments, has a follow button. Then just click on chat and come back in. There we go. And I appreciate that. Thank you. Mike, back, had a phone call. Can't believe people call me when that thing of ours is on. People just don't, they just don't think about other people.
No, they don't. How rude.
How people-y.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Would you read that?
I would love to. There we go. Mike Lee says Senate should either skip recess or allow President Trump to make recess appointments. All right, let's hear what's said.
Here it is, late July in our nation's capital, and a lot of people in this town still have yet to accept the fact that President Trump won the election. As a result, you've seen a campaign of delay and obstruction in the United States Senate, enough so that we've got a 135-person backlog on the Senate presidential nomination calendar. If you look at how much time it's taken us to confirm nominees so far, it will be at least in April of 2026. It's before we clear the current backlog. And by then, we will have had hundreds of additional nominees make it through the committee process. We can't continue this way. And if we try, we're going to have the deep state basically running our federal agencies and departments. If there's anything that we've learned in the last few years, months, and especially the last few days, is that we don't want that. Look, the American people deserve to have their elected president be able to install his chosen personnel in his administration. So here's what I think needs to happen. The Senate should not take this recess unless or until such time as it clears the backlog. Now, it can either stay and get the job done in the Senate, or if it insists on taking its traditional August recess, then it needs to actually take a recess, and take a recess in a way that will allow the president to exercise his recess appointment power under the Constitution. You can't have it both ways. If you agree with this message, and if you don't want the deep state running our federal agencies and departments in Washington, tell your senators, clear the confirmation backlog. Thank you.
Thoughts?
I think that this is part of the game. I think it's most definitely a part of the game because it will show obstruction. It will show obstruction of justice when Trump needed these appointments to go through so that way the government could be run properly, but they're obstructing simply because they don't want anything to get done that might lead to their demise. Understandable, liars are going to lie, and they're going to do everything they can to CYA or cover their butts. So I think it's part of the game, and I believe that the Congress is not going to not go on recess. I think that that's part of the game too, because that's where all of the information, it's just the flood of information is starting to come out, and it's going to get pretty serious over the next 5 weeks while Congress is taking a break, but it sure will make the job of the Congress easier to do all of the investigations and everything that they need to do, so that way we can rid our nation of those who apparently, want to commit treason against it.
Imagine that.
I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
Yes, we shall.
Yeah.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Would you read that, please?
Yes. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang says President Trump is America's big AI arms race advantage.
Let's listen.
He should.
As a CEO of a global company, what do you see are America's unique advantages that other countries don't have?
America's unique advantage that no country possibly have is President Trump. And let me explain why. One, on the first day of his administration, he realized the importance of AI and he realized the importance of energy. For the last, I don't know how many years, energy production was vilified, if you guys remember.
Yeah.
We can't create new industries without energy. You can't reshore manufacturing without energy. You can't sustain a brand new industry like artificial intelligence without energy. If we decide as a country the only thing we want is IP, to be an IP only, a services only country, then we don't need much energy. But if we want to produce things, something as vital as artificial intelligence, then we need energy. And so I'm just delighted to see to accelerate AI innovation, to accelerate the growth of energy so that we can sustain this new industry and go after the new industrial revolution.
Thoughts?
They're presenting it as the new industrial revolution, and there's news reports coming out about how people are getting dumber because of AI, because they're not thinking as if people were really trying to be Socrates before, but it's making it even worse now. The AI thing has a lot of terrible potential. I'm not a big fan. I think it can be used properly like anything else. It can be used for good or evil, but the thing about it is it's taking up all of the electricity. It is making our electricity bills go up when they're the people that are using all the damn electricity. And that's really upsetting because it's like, why do I have to pay for your toys? I don't want to pay for your toys. I've already been paying for your toys all these years. See the Federal Reserve and everything the government's been doing. I'm sick of it. So no, don't make me pay for your stuff. But I understand really what AI is it's a new arms race as people are trying to, build the Whopper from war games. It's not going to be beneficial and it's not going to be good for everybody in the long run. Well, and I understand that, Silver, that it really is helpful. And I know that there's good uses for it. And I know that if people use their, intuitive and creative abilities in conjunction with that, because I've thought about that. I'd love to write some books, but I'm not a writer. I'm just a talker, just in case y'all couldn't figure that one out. And so the writing aspect of it would be extremely helpful for me. And I think that it can be used, but people abuse everything that's presented to us. And I guess it's my lack of faith in humans, which I should probably work on that.
You have faith in God.
I do have faith in God. So I know it's going to be okay in the long run. We just got to go through this. But my biggest fear, honestly, and I know I shouldn't fear, and that is that people will look at it as a brazen head.
Right.
That's the slippery slope that I'm concerned
what did
about.
Kelly say? You can't have fear and faith at the same time.
I understand that. Thank you.
Just pointing that out.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
You ready?
Yeah.
Would you read that, please?
Yes. The left loves Islam because it fundamentally changes every Western society it infiltrates.
Let's listen.
Islam will be spread by two ways: through the importation of Muslims into your country or the spread of lower income, predominantly minority men. Would you agree with that? And
the left love Islam and they will import Islam. And we see that in Australia and in London. One of the major people in the Department of Education in London, he's literally an imam and a mufti. He's literally an Islamic scholar and an imam who preaches. You will see Islam make its way into the left-wing politics. That's one of the reasons the borders were open the last 4 years. It was intentional about changing the character of this nation fundamentally. The way to destroy America will be Islam. And this is very obvious in UK. Half of Americans are left, half of Americans are right, give or take. The only way for leftism to win permanently is to import a group of people that fundamentally hates the American freedom. That happens to be Islam.
It's not just Islam.
Right.
And Islam is not, it can be used for evil, just like people can look at the Old Testament and justify the things that they do based off of what the Old Testament says. It's about the character of the person that's trying to follow that, because there's a lot of preachings in Islam that defer to the Old Testament and the New Testament. I have a video up that I'm trying to do some research on so I can build something there. Already heading home. Woohoo!
Drive safe.
Be safe. Anyways, so can it be a problem? Yes, but we can also learn from it. The thing is that they're zealous. They're zealots about God from a different perspective. And we as Christians need to have that kind of fervor towards our Creator. If you look around the world and if you look around our country, you find that people aren't deferring to God as much as we should. And it's a long conversation, but in the end, we're Americans. We have freedom of religion. We don't have freedom for invaders to come in, but we do have freedom of religion. And a religion is only a religion if it's helping you get closer to God, that doesn't involve countering American principles, which is that of individual liberty. That is the key. And if there are tenets that they apply that are counter to individual liberty, then that is something that we cannot accept, because we are supposed to accept everybody. So there's going to be a lot of long conversations moving forward in the future if we are to defend freedom of religion. And that is something that most assuredly be defended, provided that that religion is not hostile to our way of life. Illinois. Mikey says, nailed it. Which part? Oh, what that guy was saying, probably. Yeah, God wins, no worries. And that's another faith building exercise. If nothing else, we should live and walk the path that Jesus taught, so that way we don't have to worry about the enemy coming in and taking over. Mikey also says, I disagree. Violence is woven into the fabric of their religion, sorta. It's not a choice of right and wrong. It's a commitment for them to act violently. There are aspects in that, and just like the Baptist Church talked about hating gays and everything, Westboro Baptist Church, they have their own version of Westboro Baptist Church. They are attacked frequently. There is a campaign to say America is the great Satan. People fall into that. The corrupt politicians that have been doing this endless war against the Middle East for, well, my entire military career. I'm going to, and more, I'm going to say that that's a real problem. And it's a matter of us fixing the problems that we have internally, so that way they stop seeing us as the great Satan. Now, it's not to justify what they're saying. Please don't get that twisted. I'm not justifying what they do. What I'm saying is it's just that their version of the Westboro Baptist Church, the Westboro Islamic God, what's the name? Anyways, y'all get the point that I'm making. Is the extremists have been talking.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of people believe Islam is evil, but have you read their book? It's something to consider. Anyways, let's see this, because I want to hear what people saying, because I know that I can bring up some questionable topics. But again, they're people, and they're the people that we need to be saving.
Right.
That's our responsibility.
Right. Ready?
Yeah.
How about some Craig?
Comments are going crazy.
How about some Craig?
Yeah, let's do some Craig. Ooh, he looks angry.
When you focus on God, on his word, on his truth, he gives you his peace. But focusing your thoughts on God isn't just something you do in a moment. It's an ongoing mindset that you build every day. You win the battle in your mind by focusing on God's truth instead of letting your emotions lead. Set your mind on God, not on fear, not on anxiety, not on doubt. Because if you don't lead your thoughts, anxiety will do everything possible to take control.
Thoughts?
And that kind of leads, it's a good lead on from what we were talking about, because it does create a sense of fear, because there is so much violence associated with that. But here's the thing. When I was in Baghdad, they were all Muslim, surprise. And they were some of the nicest people I had met as a generality, even in downtown Baghdad. Now, are there people there that were zealots and didn't like us? Most assuredly. Of course, they didn't want us in their country, just like we don't want anybody else's invading army in our country. Yet here we are, to include some of those very people that I don't want here either, that are very much of the terrorist type that snuck across the border during the previous 4 years. So we can't fear that these people are here. We can't fear that they are going to take over. We can't fear that they're going to win, because in the end, like was said, God wins. And it's through our faith and following our practice that actually defeats it, just like the Christians did in ancient Rome. They went through all of the things that made all of the martyrs, but in the end, it made God win, and Christianity took over the Roman Empire. Now, we don't have that problem, because it's already a nation where we're allowed to be who we are. It was founded by Christians. It is basically a Christian nation, but we have to allow other faiths in. And the only reason why anybody would want to switch their faith is because they see, oh, wow, those people are happy and they love everybody. They love me and they don't even know who I am. That's how we win. just like they did in ancient Rome. It's not the easy answer. I understand that. And it's hard to love people who want to destroy your home, your family, your country, everything. It's not the easy thing to do, but it's the thing that we're asked to do. Like he says, it's there's a difference between Muslim and Islam. Yes, I know plenty of people, Muslim people, but Islam is a different beast. A Muslim is somebody who practices Islam, and it's sects. It's different sects, and I guess that's the point that I'm trying to make. Is just like we have our far left and our far right here in this nation, they have their, far, left believers, their far right believers, and there's hostility on both sides. But as a majority, people are just trying to get along and live their best life and understand and apply what they think they understand God wants them to do. So focus on the good things and don't fear it, I guess. Left Lane says, I know one group is Muslim and another group is Nation of Islam. And then you've got the Black Israelis. So you tell me. I don't know who the Black Israelis are. Muhammad was a horrible, violent pedophile, married 9 years old. Yeah, I know. And they will defend. I think. But remember, God also sent him too. He allowed him to teach. All right. Not saying that that's the teaching we should follow, but it's out there and it's to teach us a lesson just as much as it's to teach them a lesson. Also, keep in mind that they were pagans before that because they weren't accepting Christianity. It was a pagan area, and Muhammad is the one who made them fall under the God of Abraham. That's how I understand it.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Would you read that, please?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Scott Jennings says Democrats creating alternate and false reality. Boy, they've been doing that this whole time.
Yeah, let's watch.
All right.
Just own up to it. Why doesn't he just do that?
Own up to what? What the Wall Street Journal calls unverified hearsay. Why should he go out there and have to own up to anything? He's not ever been credibly accused. The Washington Post ran a fact check on this the other day and said, we're confident there's nothing about the president. If there were, we would know about it. Unverified hearsay is what he's dealing with, and you want him to go out and fight this ghost? It's ridiculous. Democrats are alleging that he is somehow part of Epstein's wrongdoing. It's been happening all day long. This is the whole point of this fiasco, is to try to create a narrative and what he calls correctly a hoax, that he is somehow part of it. It's exactly what they did about Russia, and they're doing it on Epstein.
If he were younger, girls on the younger
and
side.
that comment and what you just said are two different things. So
Okay,
if
but
you're
I'm answering
alleging
my question.
criminality,
If he
go
knew-
ahead. Say it directly.
No,
Say it so we can all hear it.
I am asking you a question that you are pivoting on. The question I am asking you is, if Donald Trump knew that Epstein was having sex and preying on underage girls, is that wrongdoing?
Well, I think if anyone would have known that, but I don't know that he knew that because
I don't know that either.
He disowned it. But you're raising it. If I knew that you ran over someone out on the street, would that be criminal wrongdoing? You're raising it because you don't know if it's true, but you're saying it out loud because you're trying to create.
I'm saying it out loud because I think that's what a lot of people are wondering, because he does the man does protest.
This is what we say when Anna's wondering.
All right, let me Democrats have been trying to take down Trump with documents that they never used to take down Trump.
I'm sorry, they crippled almost his entire first term by convincing one half of the country that Russia stole the 2016 election. And Democrats still have it on. Tonight, Fox News did a poll.
Speaking of accurate sources.
Are you calling into question the Fox News polling? Because it's generally considered to be very good. So here's the deal. They have his job approval. He's a little underwater. Of all the people who said they approve or disapprove of Donald Trump, only 1% mentioned Epstein as the reason. And the whole 1% was either Democrats or independents. This fantasy that Republicans or MAGA, nobody in the Republican Party is worried about this. And most of America is not worried about it.
Thought.
All right. Okay. So he brought up something up earlier in the conversation where he said about running somebody over, yet they still associate and love Kamala Harris, despite the fact that the news knows that Kamala Harris had hit somebody and then used the power that she had as the Attorney General of California to silence that individual who still hasn't received the medical care that they need. So don't sit here and try to play holier than thou about how you hate Trump when in all actuality you support these criminals as well. And what do we actually know about what Trump did with Epstein? Maybe Trump actually knew that it was a honeypot operation and he played along so that way he could, stay clear of and help guide this honeypot operation to clean out the very most corrupt people in this nation. We don't know what happened. And that's why they're pretty much getting dared. That's why President Trump is pretty much daring the left to beg for the Epstein files to be released, because I think he knows that he's pretty clean on this whole thing and that he's going to be all right in the end when all of the information comes out. So we'll see how it plays out. But CNN, they're just purely running out of emotion as opposed to using any reason. And it's difficult to watch CNN sometimes because they don't listen. They wait to talk before they try to comprehend what's being communicated to them. And that's why the conversation isn't moving forward, because CNN has idiots like this on TV, but they have to hold to their narrative as well, which makes me ask the question, why? Why are you holding on to this so hard? Is there something that's tied to you specifically? Is that why you're fighting this narrative that's been proven false time and time again? Or is it just that you have so much cognitive dissonance that you don't have the ability to comprehend anything other than what their apparently most brilliant minds on the planet are saying there on CNN? Because they're infallible and they can't be bamboozled? I don't know. Time will tell us. But this is why things have gotten to the way they are, is because it just turns into
Yeah.
All right. Mike says Trump will make the Democrats beg for it, then he will break it off in them. Yeah, that's what it's really looking like is going to happen to me.
Mhm.
That's what I see. That's exactly what Trump is doing. It's probably a better way to say that.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
Would you read that, please?
Certainly. All right. Ex-CDC director confirms COVID-19.
Hey!
What? Too late now. Was engineered in a lab and funded by the U.S. Surprise! All you conspiracy theorists weren't so theorizing. You were actually right.
Hopefully, I got
China.
It probably started in the summer of 2019. There were two hypotheses for the origin. One was spillover, that it came from bats into some animal and then got into humans. And the other was that it was actually engineered by scientists in a laboratory through what we call gain-of-function research. This is research that scientists intentionally try to teach a pathogen to be more pathogenic. Now, I'm of the view, and I don't have any doubt in my mind now, 5 years later, that the source of COVID was a laboratory, and it was a direct consequence of what I call scientific arrogance, where people didn't see the downside, and they intentionally changed COVID-19. They could not infect humans, and they taught it how to infect humans. That we shouldn't be doing this gain-of-function research. We shouldn't be trying to teach pathogens how to be very pathogenic for man. Tony Fauci, who's a colleague of mine in 2012, and Collins wrote a thing in the Washington Post really supporting gain-of-function research and thinking it was the key to the future, and even said in the op-ed that they wrote in the Post that if a great pandemic becomes because of this, it's worth the risk. Well, they supported this research. The U.S. helped fund this research. It's not just a Chinese lab. It was a U.S.-funded experiments that were doing in the Chinese lab. And in fact, ended up creating a virus.
Pop it up again.
No, over on Pilled.
Oh, Yes, I did. Okay. All right. So I have been saying this for a long time. It's not gain of function research. It's biological warfare research, and it's something we shouldn't be doing. We don't need to make viruses any worse than they are. Fortunately, these people weren't able to make these things as bad as they wanted them to be. And I heard that there's some people who have been having problems with the plague. The viruses are always getting played with. It's not something that's going to be beneficial for anybody. It's something that's going to be beneficial for the people that want to eliminate most of the planet, but God won't allow them to do the things that they want to do because that's not what he wants done. It's just not the way it works, especially as more and more Americans are actually turning to God as opposed to thinking that they can do it better than, on their own. And as we do turn to God, these kinds of attacks, the weapons they form against us will not prosper. And that's where we should get our reassurance. And the fact that they're doing biological warfare research is something that I think that we kind of have laws against. And so therefore they should probably pay the legal penalties for that. Mike says only one reason to gain function on a virus, 100%, and it's not to make it's to make a better vaccine design, designer vaccines, designer diseases, stuff like that. Oh, look, we just happen to have the one thing that's going to cure this.
Right.
Yeah. And let me guess how much it costs.
Yeah. Yeah. Ready?
Yeah.
Would you read that, please?
Certainly. Senator Ron Johnson appreciates President Trump pulling out of UNESCO.
Let's listen.
Let us listen.
I'm sure you were very excited, not only about the UNESCO news, but also earlier in the week with the United States weighing in on the World Health Organization and their amendments.
I'll tell you, this is another classic example that elections have consequences. And in this case, America chose wisely in electing President Trump because he is highly skeptical of these global organizations, and he's pulling the United States out of them, which is probably the greatest influence we can have on them because we are generally such a big funder, and some of these things basically exist because we fund them. This is good news, but across the board. We're closing our borders. We have closed our border. We're trying to bring an end to these wars. We're trying to get our debt and deficit under control. So this is just one more example of President Trump doing right by the American people and putting America first and protecting American sovereignty.
100% elections have consequences. Exactly, Bethany. All right. So again, the stage is being set for what's coming. We're going to hear a lot of Trump is right, Trump is wrong, back and forth in the press. It's all part of the political circus. That's why some people aren't taking this as seriously as they should, but they're going to have an awakening here soon when the evidence starts to come out. And that's going to make people really reconsider how smart they are. This is a trying and challenging time in not only this nation, but around the world. And we have a lot of work to do, but this is how the information gets out. It's how people, hear something different than what they've gotten used to hearing. Mikey says, now I want to see our debt go down significantly. You ain't the only one there, brother.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's listen.
All righty.
Be like water. Adapt and overcome. Water never fights obstacles. It flows around them. When it meets a rock, it doesn't stop. It finds another way. And over time, it even shapes the hardest stone. Life will throw obstacles in your path. But instead of resisting, learn to adapt. Change direction if needed, but never stop moving. Because just like water, persistence always wins in the end.
Thoughts?
Think about the power of water. It fills any shape. I always loved that little Bruce Lee quote, be water, my friend. It fills every shape that it goes into, and it has the power over time to absolutely change the environment that it passes through. It smooths rocks, it cuts canyons. Although I'm more of a young earth kind of person, and I believe that the Grand Canyon was cut in a very short period of time, despite what science says. So the power of water is tremendous, but it's difficult to compare it to much of anything else. It's one of the greatest solvents that we have. It provides life everywhere it is. It's an amazing thing, and so it is truly a gift from God. Water, that is, and it's let's see, where am I going with this? I think that's about all I got on this one. I just had a mind blank, just gone. So,
Ready?
yes,
Let's listen.
I'm tired of any more coffee.
Let's listen.
All right.
Marcus Aurelius discovered that complaining, even to yourself, is the silent killer of greatness. Think about it. Every time you whisper a complaint in your head, you're literally rewiring your brain for weakness. That inner voice saying life is unfair or this is too hard becomes your default operating system. The Stoic emperor understood something profound about human psychology. When you complain, you surrender your power to circumstances. You become a victim of your own narrative. But here's the transformation. Instead of feeding that inner critic, you starve it. Replace every complaint with a question. How can I grow from this? What lesson is hidden here? Your brain starts scanning for solutions instead of problems. The same energy that once fueled your grievances now powers your resilience. This isn't about toxic positivity or pretending problems don't exist. It's about refusing to let challenges define your character. Every warrior knows the battle is won in the mind first.
All right.
Oh, is this mine? Oh, okay. All right. So, maintaining our thoughts and understanding what we should do with those is a huge challenge. Yes, Steph, exactly. The power of life and death is in your tongue. It's also in the things that we type, but even more so, it starts inside the head. And I've talked about the Native American analogy of the black wolf and the white wolf. Which one do you feed? Plato talked about the charioteer. You have the black horse and the white horse. Which one are you letting lead? You're the one that's in control, and you need to understand that the thoughts that go through your mind aren't necessarily who you are. It's not you giving your thoughts. Your thoughts come as a guide, and it's up to you to choose whether or not you believe those thoughts. Do you believe that it's going to be bad? Do you believe that your Rumble's going to have problems every time you come here? And as we communicate those things, it happens more and more. That's not good. So we need to capture those thoughts that we have that bring that negativity into us, because that negativity is that very self-sabotaging behavior that we need to get over and get rid of. And it's not easy. It's not easy to maintain focus on all of your thoughts because they're going a million miles a minute. But how do you control that? How do you understand what's going on? It's the feelings that you have. The feelings that you have, those are the things that determine how your thoughts kind of come about. So you need to focus on the good things. When things are tough, when things are bad, change it. Do what you can in that moment to change whatever it is you're doing into something positive. Say, recognize that you don't like what's going on. Okay, I don't like that. God, give me some guidance about how I can fix that. God, give me something to do to make these things that are going on in my life more positive. And that is one of the many tools in your tool chest that you can use to make sure that your life gets better, because you do deserve a better life than what you have now. And the way we can do that is by submitting it to God. Mike says, got to go pack to go home tomorrow. Peace and love. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, be safe, Mike. Be safe.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. We call speaking things into existence. You can speak blessings into existence or curses into existence. Yes, and we need to, before these words come out of our mouth, and this is a practice I'm having a hard time doing, but I'm working on it. I'm a lot better than I used to be. Praise be to God. He's making me a better person today than I was yesterday, and a better person tomorrow than I am today. And I'm seeing that happen every single day. But it is about speaking blessings. The power of life and death is within our tongue. So consider the things that come out of our mouths before we allow them to come out.
Amen.
I'm looking in the mirror on that one. I promise you that. All right, everybody. Well, I think that we're going to go ahead and call this one a day. We do truly appreciate each and every one of you showing up today. It makes our day brighter too, and we hope that we make your day a little bit better. I enjoyed the conversation about other religions. I know that I have a lot more work to do, and I'm going to have to read through all these comments because I know each and every one of you had very brilliant things to say, and I look forward to getting smarter by hearing, being able to really digest what you were saying. So thank you for sharing what you have. Aaron says, this place has always been good since I started watching it. Meaning DTO. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that. We're all on our journey trying to improve. And the only way we can improve is by connecting with God and trying to do it Yah's way instead of our way.
Amen.
All right, everybody. I think we're going to go ahead and close it now. Thank you all for joining us. We will be back again tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, Locals, and Pill.net.
And if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on Pill.net, take that red pill. And if you're on Facebook,
hit the heart button.
Hit the heart.
Hit whatever you want, but hit the heart button.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. We love you all. Have a great night. Be safe, and God bless each and every one of you.